Hey there everybody, Pop on Top here. Welcome back to some more Fallout 4 mods. In today's mod, we got the weapon currently equipped in my character's hands here. This is the AK-112, which is a Fallout 1 inspired weapon. So, this weapon, the AK-112, was a weapon in the original Fallout 1, and Fallout 2. So it's an OG gun. Now, I've never played Fallout 1 or Fallout 2. Those were kind of before my time, and those were like PC only games. It was a big deal. In that kind of space. It just didn't. I was never given the opportunity. It was a long time ago, right? Never played those. I understand how those games goes. I've seen those games played before. Watched YouTube playthroughs and stuff like that. I understand how Fallout 1 and 2 were, but this gun is the AK-112. So it's kind of what was referred to as the assault rifle. It's like the assault rifle of Fallout 1 and 2, right? Before we had like the G3 looking assault rifle from Fallout 3. This was the assault rifle, sort of. I mean, obviously this comes with so it's inspired in the sense that like in that game, obviously, it was just a base gun. There was no modifications, attachments, and all that stuff. This one, you know, it's a big, chunky assault rifle looking boy. Very obviously AK in its design, right? Metal in its frame, big, chunky boy, kind of like just big, right? We have obviously like lots of good attachments on here and stuff too, though. We're gonna strip it down a little bit. Right now, I even have it full auto. It shoots so slow and chunky, even full auto. Right? It's like I'm holding the trigger. That's as fast as it shoots, right? That's its full auto fire rate mode. In this, in its original version, it shot in single and burst fire, and apparently it was a pretty good early game weapon. You could get some shit with it. You could fuck people up. Pretty accurate gun, I guess. But in this game, you get it here. You find it on the leveled list, so you can craft. You cannot craft it for yourself. You can find it on gunners and raiders and all that stuff, which makes sense. Apparently, the Brotherhood of Steel was packing this thing around back in Fallout 1. That's what the wiki said. I just the wiki's word at it. So the only standard receiver, which you're like, wait a minute, how do you have an automatic? Apparently, the receiver is not actually the thing that changes anything here. We have the internals that change. Okay, so standard internals change. So obviously, this doesn't look. So receivers kind of change the look of a weapon. The internals, as they're implied being internal, change the function of the weapon. We can obviously go advanced to make us see. And then, as you see here, our powerful automatic gets a 50 rate of fire. Our advanced internals gets 40. Okay, so it is slightly slower, but that's obviously semi-auto as well, right? Obviously, by default here, it shoots actually the 5mm ammunition, which is still really good. You could shoot 5mm in this. It uses 7 damage. 5.56 is a lot more expensive, and it's something like survival mode a lot more heavy. So you could easily go the 5mm ammunition. You probably should go semi-auto. I don't really. This is one of the few guns. I'm a lazy guy. You know me. I would very much like to hold down the trigger. Rapid even, 60 rate of fire. We're going to put rapid on there just to show that off real quick. We'll make comparisons and stuff here. I currently have the medium scope on there, but it has all the things, standard sights. We're going to, like I said, we're going to strip the weapon down, but all your short scopes, your reflex sights, all the things, night vision scopes, all the things. So we have small mag, large mag, small quick eject, large quick eject. We're going to go default with small. We'll just show what the slower reload looks like. Currently I have a polymer stock, but we're going to go back down to standard. And we have a long sniper barrel, but we're going to go short sniper barrel. So that's it. Like that's the barrels. Now, obviously, you see the stock changed the wood grain too. So polymer made the barrel polymer. We have that green polymer. Marksman's is like an in-between. It's still wood, though. I do like the wood grain, though. Obviously, the best is polymer, but like having the weapon, this version we have currently equipped right here looks a lot like the Fallout 1 inspired or Fallout 1 version. Now, that's as fast as the gun shoots. Obviously, we just wasted a whole mag because short is 10, which is very tiny, right? Obviously, like I said, in its original incantation, this weapon only shot in semi-auto or burst fire. It did not shoot in full auto, so wasting 10 rounds very quickly like that. Not that it's very quick. This is still like the slowest automatic fire rate of weapon I've ever, or automatic rate of fire weapon I've ever seen. Sometimes I trip over my words, you guys. So you can do long barrel. That doesn't change anything. It just literally changes the barrel. You get more range, more accuracy. It's good. You do lose some hip fire accuracy, right? It still says good range, and it still is good. There's nothing wrong with any of that. Standard receiver, short sniper barrel, standard stock is probably fine. Marksman stock probably a little bit better. We'll show the comparison there. We'll go back to the large mag though, because I think it's just necessary on this kind of thing. We'll put the reflex sight on here because I actually think it's one of the best reflex sights I've ever seen. We'll talk about some of the muzzle attachments here. You can obviously get a bayonet, a bigger sire bayonet, a compensator, muzzle brake, and a suppressor. We'll make it suppressed because it obviously has a kind of currently a big chunky noise. Bap, 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 like especially in this full automatic rate of fire. Now we're going to put on, though, the advanced internals, which is to maximize per bullet damage as well as we're not losing fire rate. And it gives you more range than the automatic. And 5mm ammunition, like I said, is fine. It's kind of like a personal preference thing there, but I believe the original gun did shoot 5mm. But oh, that suppressed noise still is good. That's very good. but I can tap fire it that fast, right? Like I'm still holding the left trigger again. Thank you. But one thing I wanted to show off with holding the, like when you're aiming, even with the reflex out here, this is a very nice reflex, just a real simple dot, right? The recoil of this weapon is it's a lot of visual recoil. Like I am not gonna touch the right stick, and as you see here, I'm hitting. I have not actually moved off the target, but my reticle is bouncing around so much. My sight is bouncing around, even with this tapped rate of fire, right? You got to really slow it down. So we'll slow it down to show, like, before it resets and you actually get like a clear shot, right? With these particular kind of sights and stuff, right? But we get a humongous 40 round magazine that's quadrupled the magazine size versus the small mag. Obviously the way to go is the large. Even if it, at the cost of even like, you don't want the quick eject, it's not worth, right? But these require gun nut. See, the small magazine and the small quick eject don't even require a perk at all. Large magazine and large quick eject require the gun nut perk because they know they're actually way better. Well, so, but this is a weapon. I don't normally like using longer range scopes. We're going to put a short scope on there because it actually helps with that visual recoil a lot to put a scope on here. We're going to keep the suppressor on. Technically, like I said, you want the polymer for exceptional recoil. But the recoil of the weapon doesn't actually exist, right? Like, it's not actually kicking. That's not really what's going on there. Even when you put the polymer stock on, you're going to see that it's going to bounce around. And technically, you want the long barrel. You're going to give up that little bit of hip fire accuracy, but it's good. And technically, at max, to maximize the weapon's damage, you want to go 5.56. But it doesn't change the sound as far as I can tell. We'll see. So this is more like we had in the start. Short scope. So it's bouncing a little bit, but obviously with the scope, it's very clear you're staying on target all the time, right? Like, it's very easy. And you're tapping rounds out at a pretty good rate, especially if you're doing 170 something damage per shot. It's pretty good. That's good damage. And we'll go back. We'll show it off. Like, so if I take the polymer stock off and I put the standard stock on, we're like the most basic, least recoil controlling stock we got, standard sights, right? So I want to show off the differences in stocks. It's not actual recoil we're feeling here. Like this is where we're gonna see a lot of it. See how like this just bounces around? I'm just putting the middle of my screen on the target. The gun is like getting in the way a lot, but it's not really moving. It's not going up. Like I'm not bouncing up because I would bounce because I'm not touching the right stick, right? It would go up. I'd have to control it down. I'm not controlling it down, and that's without a stock at all. Like there's no the stock doesn't actually do anything for recoil control. It doesn't make the weapon more or less bouncy. It's just bouncy. That's just what it looks like. It's the visual appearance of the gun being heavy and chunky. It really isn't, right? You could keep it as simple as this, and this looks just fine. I do particularly like the wood grain, though. And like I said, see, if the polymer doesn't actually help with recoil, it just does make the weapon heavier, which also doesn't make any sense. Polymer is lighter than wood. That's why we use it in guns, because we don't want it to be heavy. You know, so standard or marksman is fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with either of those. You do want the larger mag. 4 times mag increase is huge. You probably actually want to put a longer range sight on there. Or maybe you don't have to go medium. Medium requires science for some reason, which is kind of, I don't know if that's true. Like in normal guns. I can't remember. It's been a long time. You can even go long scope, right? Suppressor, I think, is a good idea. Still sounds good with the suppressor. Advanced internals, there's no reason to go automatic rate of fire on this gun. Like, I know maybe you don't have the fast trigger as fingers as me, but 40 is not even that fast. You're just bap, 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 bap. But that's what you're shooting. Like you saw with the automatic, is bap, 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 bap. You just get to hold down the trigger, right? So, you know, customize the weapon how you want. It's got good amount of customization. Long scope is good. Obviously, we're pretty zoomed in here. But you can see the bullets are hitting that same, like, let's see, aim for the titty right there. And we're kind of hitting the same spot over and over again. I'm not touching the right stick, right? Like, the recoil of the weapon doesn't actually exist. I'm hitting the same spot. It just is a little bit bouncy, but the scopes actually make the visual bounce a lot better. We'll show it off. I'll show it again in a couple, like, okay, as a reminder, that's like the full fire rate. I'm tapping the trigger as fast as I can. We'll go automatic. We'll go back to reflex sight. Now remember, we lost a huge amount of damage going automatic as well. Now, it's slightly faster. It is faster. I'm not going to try to lie to tell you it's not faster. It's not fast, though. And you really can't see anything. All you see is suppressor where you're actually hitting. Like, it takes a good chunk of time to reset that reticle down to where you can, if you were actually trying to look at your target. Obviously, this is a standing still damage measuring target I've built in my settlement. If you had a moving target, it would become a lot more difficult. Now, I really think 5mm is fine. I mean... And I really think that you should not go automatic. There's no reason to. You get plenty of fire rate without it. A reflex sight might not be the way to go because it just bobbles too much. One of the scopes is good. You can go short. You can go medium. I'm going to go with medium. I think that's a good compromise in the in-between. Large magazine is very important. Stock doesn't matter so much. Longer barrel because you want that extra range. But even if you don't, you could do that. You are going to lose a lot of range and some accuracy, but you know. And then obviously standard receiver is just a receiver. So it's a good gun. It's a good all around gun. It's going to work just fine. I bet this is going to be very effective in combat because it actually has no recoil. And we have something on like a medium scope on here. It's just pop, 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 pop. And it's a slightly faster. So that's the tiniest bit. You can notice it's faster with the automatic, but it's not making a huge difference. And you're dropping almost 50% of its damage off, which is bad. It's not good. We're going to go test the weapon out some combat, though, and I will see you guys when we get there. Alright, everybody, pulling up here. Zombies are in arcade mode. Just a quick look at the running animation. This is very similar. This gun in general is very similar to the handmade rifle from the Nuka World DLC. I happen to have one of those in my inventory. We'll show that off. It is the exact same running animation, right? So from here, it looked exactly the same, right? This is obviously very AK-inspired weapon too. This is way more AK-47 style than the AK-12. This is obviously bigger and boxier and chunkier looking boys. Can we just stop shooting over there? You got it's just my sound mods are so good that I can hear the audio over there directionally, and it's loud as shit, reverb and stuff. But we're gonna test the weapon out in combat. Like I said, I imagine this weapon is going to do very well in combat. Not like overpowered, like overbearing, super amazing, constantly just shitting on everybody all the time. Especially, we'll show that off here by spawning in some super mutants who are fairly tough. We're gonna sneak around here for a little bit. We'll do some first-person shooting, some third-person shooting. Go for those sneak attack criticals. It did take 3 shots, but it went down. We have plenty of pace. See? Bap, bap. It's enough. Like, you don't need a full auto. All you're doing with full auto is increasing that visual recoil. Quick eject mag is quick. The reload animation does look nice, right? Obviously, we do have a quite poor hip fire, but you're not going to get too much better even with that shorter barrel. And I think the scope is a really big deal on this particular gun. If you're going to be close range like this, just use VATS, right? Like, one shot, headshot, and VATS, right? Like, powerful weapon on a Super Mutant Butcher that's doing just fine if you ask me, right? Now, it's a good gun, I think, because it fits too. Because like I think lore is important to certain people. Like, and this weapon obviously fits in the lore. It existed in Fallout game previously, so there's no reason it shouldn't exist in this particular one. I think there's one more Superman. I just heard him right here. Shoot him in the leg, maybe. See how that works. One shot in the leg, hurt him pretty bad, but not gonna cut it. Hello, Superman. Just scope around the corner. Hey, I see you. I know I see you. Yep. Those are all sneak attacks, so that's crazy to me. Okay, so obviously we're going to do some third-person shooting here. It's going to be, I mean, obviously because we're going to go first-person with the scope anyway, I'm going to try to do some hip-fire shooting while from the third-person so we can keep it in third-person, make sure it functions and stuff. Scope animation is just fine, though, right? Like, all that stuff is working well. But we will see if the weapon works well enough in the third-person. It is, I mean, obviously the third-person, you're losing all that visual recoil, right? It doesn't exist. Recoil doesn't exist because as long as you're not looking at your character, which you are doing less in the third-person, I would imagine you are. If you're not, I don't know what you're doing. Hipfire is not amazing, okay? I want to tell you right now. This is pretty big, but like not bigger than any other assault rifle generally. You can get some modern ones that have like laser sights and stuff that can make it better, but like... But seemingly, the weapon functions just fine, right? I've seen no major issues. I'm a first-person guy myself. But VATS, I think, is going to be really where this weapon shines. Look at that, 95s all across the board. Go for that 71 headshot. Go for that 70 headshot. What are we going to hit any of these? We missed the first one. We missed the second. There's no way, like statistically, missing 2 70s in a row. It does take a lot of AP though too, because I only got that third shot off, and now I'm out of AP, and my character has like essentially the maximum you can have. But we can manually shoot. It's pretty easy. Put the scope on the people. This is the way that I would rock the gun, but that's just, you know, my thing. You can do it. You saw all your options. You can do things your way. It's very dark in my game right now. That worked just fine though. Bap bap. Dead. Or bap bap bap. I mean, these are tough super mutants. I mean, obviously, certain things, maybe like a death cloud or something, gonna take a little bit more bullets. I guess I could do the death cloud test. I know y'all love it when I do the death cloud test. I get comments about that. I'm gonna test it against the death cloud. Okay, we will go test it against the death cloud just to see how many shots. It shouldn't be that many more though. To be fair, I think I have it equipped already. No, that's bash. Why is it bash? Where's my spawn? I have a spawn NPC grenade. Can I throw it? There we go. Throw it way out there. Hello, death cloud. I mean, I just literally fell over. Rifles, man, too good. It didn't die in that third shot. Why did it die in the third shot? Maybe those are sneak attack criticals at first. It just sucks to suck. Rifles are too good. That knockdown, when you do get it. Like, and the stay back from Fallout New Vegas, one of my favorite perks ever. But yeah, it's a solid assault rifle mod, and obviously it fits in the lore well. But certain things like its automatic rate of fire being really low, maybe that's just a design decision on purpose. But then there's not much point to using it. The visual recoil's a lot. Maybe you could add some actual recoil to the gun. I'm not sure how to do that or anything, but you could. I'm gonna knock the stoplights off because I can. You know, it's very accurate gun. It's extremely accurate. Right? In that semi-auto rate of firing mode, you just tap people. We were just popping those super mutants, doing wonderful things. It's fun to use, and it looks really nice too. It's got really good texture quality. That wood grain does look pretty nice, right? And you got all the customization you would need from weapon. Not the most customization I've ever seen, but there's only so much stuff you need, right? We're gonna describe what we need versus want here, and it's a good gun. I highly recommend you guys check it out for yourselves. If you guys want the AK-112, a Fallout 1 inspired weapon, into your Fallout 4 game, make sure to check out the top link in the description. There'll be a link there to the Bethesda.net page and the Nexus mod page. You can download the mod for yourselves there. If you guys have enjoyed the video, like the video. If you guys are new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. That way you can check more videos from me. I upload Fallout 4 mods a couple times a week, and you can check them out by subscribing. You could ring the bell to get notified on your phone or whatever that I uploaded a video. I really appreciate you guys doing that, okay? But yeah, pretty much other than that though, you guys have a good rest of your day, whatever it may be, and I will see you in the next episode.